All right, everybody, good afternoon, and thanks so much for watching News Now, which is a part of Fox10Phoenix.com. My name is Pilar Arias. I'm signing on now. We're going to get going to some of those top stories that I was talking about earlier with Mike Page at the end of News Now on Fox 10 Extra, Channel 45, Cable 9. But we weren't able to get to them because we had all that stuff going on in Washington, D.C. The president visited Arlington National Cemetery ahead of Memorial Day and then had that press conference about the subsidies for farmers and ranchers, and then kind of went off on the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi. We had it all here. And also, it appears this driving shot has stopped for now, and they're also playing music in the background on the radio, which I cannot stream for you all. So again, we're going to get going with some top stories. First, we're going to head to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the mayor has kind of been in a firearm ban battle sort of thing following the deadly synagogue shooting. So let's get the latest out of Pittsburgh.
City officials in Pittsburgh were thrilled to sign a law back in April they claim would ban, among other things, so-called assault-style weapons, such as AR-15s. It was a reaction to last October's anti-Semitic-driven mass shooting at the city's Tree of Life synagogue. But now, as a number of Pennsylvania's Second Amendment and sporting groups are suing, the city is agreeing to hold off implementing that ban, waiting for the courts to decide the law's fate. The mayor, the law's champion, is confident, though.
It allows both sides to present their side of this argument over whether or not the use of certain weapons in urban areas is something that can be regulated at the local level or not.
But that confidence could be misplaced. The groups suing the city say Commonwealth law in Pennsylvania prevents a city from enacting any kind of municipal firearms ban.
They tried to ban firearms in 1993, 94. We had to sue them. They lost. There's a consent decree that says they can't do this.
They also point to Pennsylvania's own Constitution, which to many expands on the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment. The Commonwealth's charter stipulates that bearing arms in defense shall not be questioned. Pittsburgh's mayor says they will be getting help in this court battle from a gun control group called Every Town for Gun Safety. It is financed by New York City's former mayor, the billionaire Michael Bloomberg. And those are your bullet points. Eben Brown, Fox News.
This is a Fox 10 News Alert.
All right, everybody, we are taking you out live now to Los Angeles, California. Skyfox over the scene of what they are calling a carjacking investigation. Los Angeles police are investigating a reported carjacking out of the Mid-Wilshire area with a 7-year-old boy inside the car. The carjacking was reported at about 3:07, so exactly an hour ago. It's 4:07 here in both Phoenix and Los Angeles. We're on the same time zone right now. The suspect was last seen driving eastbound on Wilshire Boulevard in a 2001 gray Chevy Silverado. It's unclear if the suspect is known to the victim. No further details are immediately known. Of course, it's a developing story, so stick with us here on News Now for the latest developments. Not quite a police chase situation at this time, but again, we are hearing that it is a reported carjacking, and we're going to make sure to keep a very, very close eye on the situation there. All right, everybody, we're going to continue on with our top stories of the day from across the country. Turns out some prison inmates graduated culinary school. They're the newest chefs. Let's get the details.
Once the asparagus dish goes out,
pressure's on in the kitchen at San Quentin Prison. A dinner for invited guests and entrees rivaling any fine dining establishment.
Ricotta, toast, and spring vegetables.
The meal marks graduation for a handful of inmates who, once a week for 3 months, immerse themselves in kitchen skills and life skills. Art says guns and drugs got him here, but he'll leave this summer with a new outlook.
It'll all come together at the end as long as everybody does their part. Yeah, it's beautiful. I did learn that, teamwork.
You would never think inside a prison that you could be making gourmet food like this. It's awesome.
Alvis gets out in 9 months and hopes to work in a restaurant.
thin that out with a little more olive oil, but that looks beautiful.
The instructors are professional chefs volunteering their time.
Great. Good. Yeah, we're going to keep it like that. We're going to loosen it up with a little more olive oil. That's great.
Okay.
A sense of accomplishment so many of these men are hungry for.
This teaches them I can do this, I can do other things too.
The two women who launched the idea say inmates sometimes forget it's prison, even though guards are always near and the knives are chained to the tables. In 5 years, close to 50 prisoners have completed the program.
It's delicious.
Although it hadn't been done before in a California prison.
And at first I was like, they just want to come in to have a good meal. And then I thought, who cares? Once we have them, You know, we can turn him around.
I don't know if you guys ever had prison food, but
Past graduates, now paroled, return each session to share their stories and encourage those still waiting, still wondering about their futures.
You gotta want this. If you don't want it, zero. If you want it, sky's the limit.
It's nice. It's fun.
Joelle works the register and serves customers at a Berkeley restaurant after doing 9 years for attempted robbery. Grateful to the program and his boss.
It may take a couple of other jobs before they're back on track, but Joelle was ready, and I knew it.
Believe in me enough to give me a second chance at it. And this program is the reason why.
Good job, buddy. Do without you, buddy. That runs the place. Great job.
All right, everyone, continuing on with our top stories of the day. It seems that cities and states across the country are overstepping federal law in terms of all sorts of things, right? We've been hearing abortion laws lately. We've been hearing in terms of comes to the smoking age, purchasing tobacco age. Well, we're going to head on over to Beverly Hills, California, where they apparently now have one of the strictest tobacco bans that we know of.
Women like it hotter and men like it colder. That's what you want me to say?
This story needs.
That is not the right story, everybody. That is the next top story I have for you. Here's the Beverly Hills story.
Tupac Mosley was full of emotion Wednesday when he met the president of Tennessee State University. The Raleigh Egypt High School graduate who is attending TSU in the fall didn't have a permanent place to live until TSU's president.
All right, everybody, for some weird reason, this video player doesn't want to show the Beverly Hills story. I've got it for you. I know I do. Give me a few moments to try to get it ready to go for you. All right, here we go. Third time's a charm.
There's only a handful of stores that sell tobacco products in Beverly Hills, but the city is aiming to become the first in the nation to ban tobacco sales altogether.
Our city's not afraid to be proactive and be the first when it comes to these issues.
Lawmakers have been debating the issue for some time, and the rich and famous have been vocal, pushing for exemptions in order to keep their coveted members-only cigar lounges open.
I think it was a tough decision for the council, but ultimately trying to find that middle ground of being proactive and taking that step in protecting public health, but also respecting the existing businesses that are here and residents that patronize those businesses. And I think they've found a happy medium.
More than 100 letters were sent to lawmakers urging them to keep lounges like the Grand Havana Room open for private clientele, which include Governor Schwarzenegger. He even wrote a letter making the case for an exemption. Area residents we spoke with say the sales ban is pretty reasonable.
I think the cigar lounges should be exempt and the hotels because people come into town and, you know, it's not for everybody, but there should be some place that it can be accessed to.
It's Beverly Hills. It's just the way it is. Yes, I have no problem with that at all.
All right, everyone. Again, sorry so much for those technical difficulties there. It appears that we've got everything under control now right here on the News Now set. And remember, to those of you watching, me and Mike Pace, we're the two hosts of News Now. We control everything of the broadcast, the graphics that you see there, the audio, the video. Sometimes the system trips up. It is called a TriCaster. We've had a News Nower ask about it before, and we just got to roll with the punches, right? That's why we like ad-lib. We don't have any scripts. We don't have any teleprompter here on News Now. We just chat away freely, and that's the beauty of it. That's what's cool about it, right? Feel free to check in where you are watching from and let us know what sort of device you're on. Are you on a smartphone? Are you on a tablet? Are you on a computer? Like I said, are you at work? Are you at school? Are you on vacation already for an extra long Memorial Day weekend? And did you all know tonight is the night Disney's remake, real life remake of Aladdin? It's out. You can watch it. Feel free to let me know if you plan to with family, friends. All right, so this next top story I have for you, it's the one that you all have been talking about ever since it accidentally played. Have you heard of women's winter? I always seem to have my jacket or a blanket or something here in the Fox 10 Phoenix newsroom because I'm always freezing. So what do women like? What sort of working conditions do they work best in? That's what this next top story is all about.
Women like it hotter and men like it colder. That's what you want me to say?
This story need not devolve into stereotypes, controversy, and division.
I think men like it to be a little colder and women like it to be a little warmer.
While not true of every man or every woman, science tells us, on average, men burn more energy at rest, keeping them warmer, while women run higher core temperatures, making cold air more noticeable.
Too cold.
I turn it down, and everyone else always wants to turn it up.
And all that science fails to account for dress code. A suit or sport coat offers more warmth than a dress or skirt. So, do women find offices too cold while men find them too hot?
It's a loaded question.
Often, yes.
The size of the effect was huge. It's much bigger than I expected. So,
inspired by his home life,
a little bit over 10 years of fighting with the wife over what to set the thermostat at.
University of Southern California Marshall School of Business Associate Professor of Finance Tom Chang co-authored a study published in the journal PLOS ONE Wednesday, tracking the performance of men versus women on math and verbal tests as the temperature went up.
Women did substantially better when the temperature went up, and men did slightly worse.
Altering the temperature from 65 to 75 degrees gave women on average a 15% bump in performance on math problems.
I am smart enough as a human resources executive to not get into the debate of if women think it's too cold or if men think it's too hot.
Human resources expert Greg Giangrande admitted he'd spent little time in his career discussing office temperature, but said office environment came up a lot.
Regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, if you're uncomfortable, it makes it difficult to focus and to perform well.
Open office plans require all genders to work in the same environment, forcing managers to compromise when setting the thermostat, which, for optimal performance on math problems, Chang's study tells us, means setting the temperature in the mid-70s.
I perform worse than most women do, no matter what the temperature is.
On the Upper East Side, I'm Matt King, Fox 5 News.
That guy was funny. He's like, I perform worse than most women regardless of the temperature. I am always freezing here at work. At home, well, I have more control of the temperature. I normally like to leave it at a nice 78 degrees, absolutely positively. That's my sweet spot at home anyway. Once it gets to about 115 out here in the valley, we'll see if that sticks. All right, so this next top story I have for you, I talked about at the end of News Now on Fox 10 Extra, Channel 45, Cable 9. Don't forget, Mike Page is normally your host from 10 a.m. to noon, Monday through Friday. Anytime he's off, vacation, illness, I fill in for him. 2 News Now hosts for you. We stream 11 hours a day. So happy to be here with you. Please like, share, subscribe. Let your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, everybody you know about us and continue to join us each and every day. So this top story, I know I rambled on a little bit. It's about a high school valedictorian. I believe he's in Tennessee, and he was accepted to dozens of colleges, offered like millions in scholarship money. Turns out the surprise, though, free meal plan, free housing. Let's get this young man's story.
Tupac Mosley was full of emotion Wednesday when he met the president of Tennessee State University. The Raleigh-Egypt High School graduate who is attending TSU in the fall didn't have a permanent place to live until TSU's president made this announcement.
When Representative Parkinson called me and we spoke to Principal Meeks, they said, this is what we do. We're going to come down and get him and bring him to Nashville. And we put him in a residence hall and get him a meal plan, so everything is free.
We first introduced you to Mosley Monday when we told you the valedictorian who earned $3 million in college scholarships and lost his father got evicted from his home this year. The teen moved from house to house and didn't know where he was going to get a meal.
That definitely makes me feel more than excited to know this is the exact reason why I wanted to attend Tennessee State University.
Mosley will major in electrical engineering in the fall.
For the president herself to drive down to one of the schools to actually assist that student personally, one-on-one, to take her up there, take him or her up there for a visit, it's just mind-blowing to me.
He says his teachers, guidance counselors, and principals made him who he is today.
Most definitely like to represent the shirt I'm currently wearing and tell them that your location is not a limitation.
And I ask you to join me in welcoming Tupac to the TSU family.
All right, that was one of those feel-good stories of the day there. Got one more top story for you before we return. to take a look at storm chasing, tornadoes, or a tour of Los Angeles. Either one is going to be coming up next here live on News Now. It's as close to Thursday as I can get for you all. Remember, it's Thursday. It's an animal-related story. I call it Thursday. We've also got Friday. It's been a minute since we've had Friday. This is about a particular animal that became a wedding crasher.
When you plan a wedding inside Rocky Mountain National Park, it's because you want to see those picture-perfect Rocky Mountains. That's why photographer Sarah Goff's latest bride and groom chose the park to elope.
We have been booked with them probably 6 months or so. So they got their wedding permit for Sprague Lake, and we had grand plans of mountain views and beautiful spring May weather, right? And then we get a snowstorm.
It makes for a magical scene, but not the one the Illinois couple hoped for.
I know there was just a little bit of disappointment just because you come to Colorado and you want those views. Everybody does.
Still, the ceremony was beautiful. It was just the two of them, an officiant and the photographers.
There's an element of intimacy, I guess, with an elopement that you don't have with a big wedding.
Until you get a wedding crasher.
My husband, who was assisting at the time, he said, we have a moose.
An adult female moose was standing in the lake watching.
And I thought, I could get a shot with the bride and groom with the moose.
She came up the trail right behind the newlyweds.
They were so excited and I think terrified of this moose. They ended up just looking at them, watching her cross also, and so that was the shot we got.
A once-in-a-lifetime photo of a once-in-a-lifetime moment.
Amazing, amazing. I'm just like, okay, we didn't have views, but we had a moose. Like, hello, that's not an everyday occurrence.
And it's the most Colorado wedding they could have hoped for.
Yeah, it is so Colorado. Yeah, yep, pine trees and moose.
This is